Hello everybody, welcome to my video. Um, Today for the food security and nutrition policy class, I'm going to talk about resiliency and sustainability policies in El Salvador. Um, these two words, in my personal opinion, and that's something that I have been learning through all the materials that we have been checking for this class. Uh, these two words have an important role right now in the sustainability and resiliency are two words that are present in all the developing countries progress and developing countries economies, basically because resilience is the ability to recover from bad or rough situations, and in biology resilience is the ability or capacity that an individual have to recover his its own in natural shape after a specific phenomena. So if the societies have this ability to recover from a bad situation, this is really good. And sustainability is basically ensure that we are going to have enough resources and the same quality of resources, and we are using a reasonable use of the resources. So it's are two words that are pretty important and needs to be present in the policies of um, every single country. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did when I was preparing for you. So according to the last analysis of sustainability in the rural households in El Salvador, 37% suffer from food insecurity, 49 suffer from don't have access to drinking water, and 83.7% have a lack of sanitation. This is based in the analysis of the National Council of El Salvador in Sustainability and Vulnerability. It, and we will talk about this council in a little bit, but it's basically a council that the presidency of El Salvador created to work in the sustainability and resiliency area from the whole country. Well, the government of El Salvador established among its objectives of the 5-year development plan that was created in 2014 and is going to work until 2019. The principal goal of this plan was to move towards an environmentally sustainable and resilient economy and society for the effects of the climate change. So I think the main enemy that they are trying to fight is the climate change, but throughout these they have been improving other areas, and that's something really interesting that I'm going to present for you in the coming slides. Based on this objective, the Presidency of the Republic created the National Council for Environmental Sustainability and Vulnerability. So this council is working developing the plan and implementing this plan. Is they have been working already for almost 4 years, and we will see which are the principal areas that they are trying to improve in the country. Um, the global warming, the depletion of this ozone layer, the contamination of the freshwater sources, the ocean, soil, and atmosphere, the loss of biodiversity, the accelerated destruction of the forest, the polluting industrial production, and the inefficient management of waste is a sign of the deterioration of living conditions on the planet, and it's the result of lack of observance of the basic principle of social, economic, and environmental sustainability. It was really interesting for me because all of these problems are present in every single country in the world. Some of them with highest improvements than others, but present in every single place. The main thing with these problems is that in a society as El Salvador, with many economic and natural problems, the impacts are stronger than in other countries. So we need to make our population more educated, also less vulnerable, and more prepared for all of these problems. Um, these Imagine that you have in your screen. It's the 5 pillars for the sustainable development, and it's basically people, and it's end poverty and hunger in all forms, and ensure dignity and equality. Prosperity ensure prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with the nature. Peace foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies. Partnership implement the agenda throughout the solid global partnership. And planet that is protect our planet's natural resources and climate for future generations. In the principle of sustainable development, we have living within limit, um, within environmental limits, sorry, and everybody needs to know where our limits in terms of the use of natural resource that we have. The second one is achieving a sustainable economy. The third one is promoting good governance, using sound science responsibility, and the last one is ensuring a strong, healthy, and just society. Well, in El Salvador in general, the country has adopted models of economic growth where the main productive actors in society as a whole have not internalized the environmental costs implicit in their production and consumption process. So people don't understand the environmental costs that every single thing that they use in the daily lives have, and this is something that needs to be improved because basically people needs to understand that every single action consumption um, activity that we have an effect on the environment and have a cost environmental cost. But I think that this economy area about environmental economy and all the costs and environmental implicit costs is not well known in specifically in my country. The predominant economic rationality has been obtaining short-term profitability, affecting the long-term sustainability of the country's natural resource ecosystems and natural capital. So we perceive that we are getting, money, but we don't know the future effects that we will have specifically in the natural resources. We need to work um, to accomplish this society when people really understand that it's not just the short-term profitability, but also the long-term. And here is where sustainability plays an important role. We need to ensure that our future generations are going to have the opportunity to enjoy as much as we are enjoying the natural resources, the same amount, the same quality. We deal with many problems like water, enough water, but not just in quantity, but also in quality. People have this perception of water bottle as a safe and as a good way to reduce the risk of water illness. But it's pretty surprisingly that many water production plants have not accomplished the safety and um, quality requirements. We need to be working on save and protect the natural resources, the natural water resources, and not on spread this idea of water bottle because this is just an example about how this short-term, sorry, profitability is affecting the long-term sustainability of the resources. Um, Sorry, this imagine is in Spanish, but what I want to show you, this is like the cover of the Sustainable El Salvador plan, and it's basically this a 5 years plan that is working to accomplish the sustainability in the whole country. Well, the present Sustainable El Salvador Plan is a public policy document with a conceptual basis and a framework for its implementation that makes it a reference and guidance instrument for the key actors of development in El Salvador. So, in the document, if you walk through and if you go reading through the document, you will see they have um, different aspects that they are working. They base their plan in 5 different areas that they want to accomplish, and I'm going to explain for you the 5 different areas. Um, I think they have been working well. They have been achieving really good um, results in terms of the sustainability. It's always hard when you have to educate these societies in terms of sustainability, because you deal with really big challenge, low rates of literacy in people, um, high levels of poverty, many people in rural areas. So that means you need to, you know, find different ways to go these places and train these people and help these people. But I think that the plan is walking through, and it's going, and they will have really good results at the end of these 5 years. The first thing that they are trying to accomplish is a comprehensive risk management for disaster reduction and climate change. So the risk management framework have five different principles, and are: identify the risk, measure the risk, manage, monitor, and report. And with all of these principles in the risk management framework applying to the the environment and the risk that we have in El Salvador regarding climate change. I don't know if you remember, but we El Salvador is known as land of volcanoes, but also for our position in our geographic position, we are pretty vulnerable for hurricanes and pretty strong storms every single year. Also, we have many earthquakes, and 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 and, and you know these moves. It's pretty usual. I think El Salvador is becoming more resilient and less vulnerable to all of this situation, but we are still having issues. Um, Talking about this, in the last 4 years, droughts had great socio-economic repercussions, damaging agricultural production, especially the basic crops for food security. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, only in 2015, due to the phenomenon of drought, the country suffered losses of 4.7 million quintals of corn, close to 25% of national production, and of beans, and approximately of 52,158 quintals, 2% of the national production. Something interesting with this is that this report was created in 2014, as you can see in the reference. I hope I can have more currently information for um, for the final presentation, um, because this year 2018 we had the biggest or the longest drought period of time in El Salvador. I think, making a guess, we will lose almost 50% of the current production in El Salvador. So this coming year is going to be hard for small farmers and rural people in terms to get enough corn for the daily life. The second is knowledge management and sustainability culture. Um, Everybody knows that knowledge is power, as this famous quote said. But train the people for a knowledge. Well, first of all, have this knowledge management. It's hard. Um, in as societies like El Salvador, people don't believe in the investment in training and education, but also this sustainability culture. You need to start at home. You need to start, you know, in the small spectrum in the rural areas with these big land extensions. You need to work first with communities, small communities, to walk and became bigger and bigger every single day. But I think it's not easy to implement a sustainability culture in a society like us, but they are, implementing through schools, churches, like, and government offices, and all of these public institutions that can be an example or can be in the public view to that the society can see and they can work through. Also, they ask the big companies to help them and implement all of these pillars in their own, um, you know, job and with their employees. The third one is a promotion of productive transformation. I found this imagine and I think it's pretty interesting and it's basically how we can improve the transformation, the productive transformation, but not just to have highest levels of profitability, but also to reduce the impacts on the environment, and base it on that. And regarding food security, that is the main thing that we are trying to accomplish with this class. Sorry. We have that in the other hand, the agricultural sectors grew by 23.7% in volume of imports compared to 2014, with imports of basic grains amounting to $261 million. Maize represents 56.6% of the total basic grains. In rice, sorry, in rice, 29.8 million was imported, and in beans, 28.5 million. This demonstrates the inability to cover the basis of the country's food and nutritional security with the internal production. So we need to make a transformation of this. Um, I have been mentioned you that rice, beans, corn to make tortillas and different food are the main are the basic food that we need for the food security in the country. So El Salvador is not able to cover um, the national demand, so we need to import this. And that's something that I think this pillar is trying to cover and work through, make this industrial transformation, this agricultural transformation, most efficient and also most resilient to these the different problems that are affecting this. Well, the efficient use of resources and key factors for production and services could increase the production of exportable and first need goods. Fostering productive activities is will make it possible to take advantage of the opening of potential markets in the region and the rest of the world and advance in the insertion in the international market food and nutrition security at the local level and the improvement in the quality of life of the population. So basically, having an efficient use of the resources and key factors for productions and services will impact really in a really good way the food security in the local level. Maybe we will have opportunities to open new markets than we are not have than we don't have already, and at the end, what we are trying to achieve is an improvement in the quality of the population of the Salvadorian people. We have this migration problem that is basically for the lack of good conditions to live in El Salvador. So I think it's basically to have it's basic based on the efficient use of the resource that we can improve people's life. The last one is a strengthening of public institutionality, and basically they are trying to, in terms of food security, and this plan is a huge plan, but I was trying to have just the parts, just the different sections, sorry, that are working on food security, and it basically ratifies the constitutional reform to Article 69, recognizing the human right to potable water and food security. If the public institutions recognize that they need to work and they can make efforts to ensure this human right, because at the end, eat and have clean water, it should be not um, a question if everybody have that. We need the wish of all the people that work on food security and nutrition is that one day everybody will have food and everybody will have enough good and safe food. So these are my two references, and that's all that I have for you. I hope you will I learned a lot about the sustainability and resiliency in El Salvador, and I hope as much as I did, you did it. Um, it was really good for me to present this for you. I just want to close my presentation and my video with this slide. Please let me know if you have any questions, suggestion, or um, something to share with me. And I think I will see you soon in class. Thank you so much. And well, also, I want to say this was a really good experience for me. This is the first time that I had to record a video with PowerPoint and upload it on YouTube, and I think it's a really good, um, also educational experience. So, thank you so much.